Just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the work I've been doing with soft circuits, just to refresh my memory here. Where the previous workshop we used a ATtiny 45 on a little breakout board, and then we were using a SMD style battery holder, and we had a lot of difficulty getting the thread through the tiny holes on here, and the pin layout was a little bit awkward on this board. You had to sometimes cross leads over to get the connections you wanted, which is not impossible, but certainly less than ideal. So since then I've been working on a couple different avenues. This one here is based on the LilyPad ProtoSnap that SparkFun puts out. And the idea is, if you're allowed to solder and want to solder for the workshop, the students can pick out the LEDs and solder the chip and the battery holder and the LEDs in place, and then it can be tested while it's before it's broken up, and then these snap off and can be placed into a project like they put things where they want. So for this board here, we've got two inputs. We've got a photocell and a touch sensor, and we've got two outputs, an LED and a speaker. The light here is too bright to do the photocell, but if I do the touch sensor, the behaviors are just the same. So it plays a brief bit of Rick Astley, and then it goes into this heartbeat, which was kind of cute on the puppy, and then the touch sensor can turn it off, turn it on, and so it reacts the same way for light. If you turn the lights all the way off, it comes on, plays for about a minute, and then turn the lights off, it comes back on again. So you can kind of booby trap somebody, you can rickroll them. So this other project here, it turned out that the battery holder is kind of the most expensive part of this whole thing, being a little bit more than $1. So my idea was that using the battery holder on a surface mount leaves a lot of, it takes a lot of PCB area to do that, but if you can surface mount some chips like the MCU on the other side, then you're kind of getting 2 for 1. And so what I've done is taken an ATtiny 84 surface mount and a couple, got a capacitor and LED and resistor on there. And then the idea is that it would be sewn into the project with the battery facing up, and that way the battery can be replaced. You have access to the power switch. The other thing I've done that I think is kind of clever is for each pair of output pins or input pins, I have a ground in the middle, and so that lets you connect the components easily without having to cross lines over or run a ground line around the projects. There's always one close. This one here, I've actually loaded the same sketch, but I haven't put it in a project yet. I wanted to kind of demonstrate how you can use jumper cables with alligator clips to kind of test your project out beforehand. And so I'm just going to hook up a piezo speaker to the output pins, and then I've got the touch sensing on pin 7, so if I touch that, and you can see I've got a little onboard LED sensor here too that can be activated. This ATtiny 84 has a lot more input-output chips, pins, and it's allowed me to put 8 around the board, and they can be analog input or digital output, and so that's kind of nice. And there's also 3 PWM pins, so if you want to do an RGB and have some fading light, you can do that as well. The only other thing I point out, I found a nice thin speaker. The ones I've been using, these are I think they're PS1240s, and they're a little bit on the high side, and I found it's the same company, just half the height, and so that sewn into a project, that'll fit much nicer, won't snag on things as well. So that's it from MakerBox, and our special development labs. Thanks for watching.